and I'm going to start recording while you're drinking water. Hey, everybody.
So
see, it's just quiet. I am the master prankster. Hey, Dan.
yes, he decided that it would be great for all of you listeners to have the podcast start while I'm drinking water, so you get to hear that nice glug glug glug.
They couldn't over my Indian laughter. I'm so amused with myself. All right, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. How about you?
I'm okay. This is so funny too, because we have, of course, not to break the fourth wall, we've definitely been chatting for like 20 minutes already. But hey,
I have never seen this person before in my life.
Right, you're a new person in my sphere of existence. But yeah, no, I'm doing okay. So today in our episode, we're gonna just dive right in and then get sidetracked and dive in again. And I'm talking with a wrench in my hand and I'm swinging it around my computer. I really should not. I have a easily within wrench distance a desktop and a laptop and my phone. So I probably shouldn't.
Caleb in the living room with a wrench.
That's right. You don't need many more clues for that. But yeah, so what are we doing? We're doing, oh yes, this is my last season. This is actually the end of our first season show. As Dan so eloquently put it, the shows we've done so far, or our planned shows. Yeah, I fucked that up. Whatever. You did it well. You said it well because it implies we're doing more, which I would love to.
But the best ideas are only limited by their execution, and the execution of that was limited by you. So
that's right. I am the limiting factor. Yep. Much like I am the limiting factor of the speed of play on the pitch, but. But
yes, because when people try to go faster, they run into Caleb and bounce off and be like, "Oh."
That's right. Oh man. So yeah, this is my last season is the name of this episode, if you will. And what are we going to be talking about, Dan? It sounds very final, but we all know it's not necessarily the case.
It's not necessarily the case. Although I will say that taking a season off is very dangerous because as much as you're committed to coming back after, sometimes things get in the way. I have one friend who's always saying, "Oh, I should get back into rugby this season." But then he's like, "Wait, but I've been out of rugby so long, I'm out of shape. I need to get into shape first." But of course, without the sort of structure of rugby, he doesn't get back into shape. And so he just gets bigger and bigger every year and be like, "Oh man, I have more work to do before I get back to rugby." He still is committed to get back to rugby. He feels bad every year that he is not in shape to do it. I'm like, dude, you need to start, and then when everyone runs past you, you're like, holy shit, I'm really out of shape. And then you're motivated to work out.
And that's what I found too, is that you can never fall into that trap of I'm going to get in shape for rugby because two things. One, you're just going to injure yourself. We know this is going to happen, and you're just going to get in shape to go get hurt, and then you're just going to fucking climb that mountain again. Just go into it. Like you say, let everyone pass you. Let that motivate you. Let that be the fire in your cauldron. And you're just gonna suck and get hurt anyways. But it's the crucible. It is I find. Just go do it, and you're gonna suck for a bit, and then you're gonna get better by the end of the season, hopefully. Sometimes it usually clicks about half to 3/4 of the way in if you're particularly out of shape coming in, or you just develop a new style of play. But yeah, it is a trap, man.
It is a trap. Although knowing that the last 2 years, I almost did take the year off. So last season, I was pretty convinced. I'm like, I don't think I'm going to come back. And it took me a long time to do it because I was in not the best shape then. I was under a lot of personal stress. I was at the beginning of last season, I was slowly sliding into bankruptcy and losing $1,500 a month into debt and living on practically nothing. And then I'm like, you know what? Rugby is expensive. Maybe I shouldn't play. I ended up deciding to do it, which I think was the right decision. Thankfully, I'm in much better.
I think it was, yeah.
I'm in much better financial shape now. So yay for that. But yeah, it's there's definitely the money commitment of rugby because you're our fees are about $400 for my team. That's not very like unheard of. That's actually pretty low compared to a lot of other teams that I know. Um, and then there's all the equipment. There's committing to fundraising, at which supposedly you're fundraising from other people, which you do, but you're also a lot of the fundraising is from your teammates because you're like, who are the people there? Well, it's your teammates. Who are the people you can talk to and be like, hey, give money? It's your teammates.
Yeah, exactly.
Uh, and of course, the other big commitment is time commitment. Rugby is a lot of time because you're committing to practices, you're committing to games, you have to keep training outside of it, uh, and that just is a lot of time. I've definitely burnt out playing rugby before. I mean, like at the end of the season, I'm just like, I'm so sick of rugby. I need to have some time. I'm like really close to completely burnt out on everything. Just like, oh my god, there's so much rugby. Um, and there's definitely been a couple of years where like the last like month I'm coming late to every practice just because I'm so burnt out. Like I need to like have some time to like just chill and then I can go to practice. And I'm coming late because of that. Um,
Thing is, we again, as the non-training, the seemingly the non-training prop, we are specialized positions. We get quite a bit of leeway on the late to practice thing, and I don't know if that's good or bad. It hasn't helped me any in my game. Helped me in my life though. But yeah, like oh man. So I've got a son who plays rugby, and so Saturdays are always like we get him to his game first because they're usually further in the morning, and the adult game, the male, I got fucking beard hair in my mouth. There we go. And so, and then the men's, the senior games are usually around noon to 1 to 2. Ideally, it's at 2. But I'm driving across fucking town. Like they're never near the same pitch, and it's just like holy fuck. And same with practices, right? Like half of my like if you have your standard Tuesday, Thursday practices, Tuesdays are like his practice. Uh, because I also was a fool for some of these years and was like not a fool, but like time wise, I was a fool. I would help coach, and which was very rewarding, everything. But like as far as like time management, dumb move. but it was very rewarding, in my heart. But yeah, so
who
Tuesdays were
cares about your heart when we're talking about your life here?
I know, and Thursdays were the adults, and so it's like. But again, I'm specialized enough. You are too. There's like, oh, he came to one of them. Cool. Yeah. But man, the time cost I found is enormous, and that's not even counting like tournaments or more added extra stuff.
Yeah, I mean, when you've got like sometimes when you've got a game that's like 2 hours drive away, which is not infrequent,
Yep.
like that's your entire day. You're spending the morning like getting ready, preparing. Then you have to like meet teammates. 2 hours there. You get there like an hour before the game, an hour and a half for the game. Then like an hour afterwards. If you're doing like short third half, 2 hours back, and like
Dude, that's a full. Yeah, exactly. That's
yeah, that's
a
like that's your whole day gone. Uh,
It's so funny too. So the one year I wasn't playing with the Wolves was the year I lived like a walk away from the pitch, like almost a rugby ball throw from the fucking pitch. Was the year I took off, and I was just, oh man, like I could have just sauntered over and then back. But no, I took the year off, and yeah, like getting back. I haven't technically come back to rugby for like I've sporadically played games, but I haven't just because of COVID. Like this was gonna be my year back, right? With the Beavs, but like fuck, man, didn't that get all fucked up? But it's yeah, the burnout, the rugby burnout does happen. That's a very real thing, especially if it's a hard season, especially if you're out of shape. You start thinking, oh man, wouldn't it be nice if I weren't hurt all the time?
I mean, another big factor is just like when you get old, you have a lot of other commitments. If you're young and you have like half your friends on the rugby team,
Yeah.
and your friends that's like this is my socializing time and my rugby time, and then you get older and you're like, well, I have to do this and see this and see this and see this, and then you're like, and At least for me. I mean, I do know some older people who like like have the rugby team. They're like 50 years old. The rugby team is all their friends, and it's sort of like, okay, like this is their life, and they don't have the issue. So
A full
generally,
circle
um, but
thing.
yeah, for me, like I love my team. My teammates are fantastic people. But like if you're asking me like who am I like super close with on the team, it's like, well, none of my close friends are really on the team.
Yeah.
Which makes it sort of like a little bit more difficult.
It's just a little bit tougher, yeah, because you also it's not like, oh, you don't want to see anyone, but it's more like you just it's just one less point of influence, I suppose.
Plus I'm a huge introvert, so it's like I need to be away from people.
Same, dude. Like you, and I'm sure you do too. I've got that cutoff at like a third half where I'm like, all right, I am sleepy now because I've eaten a shit ton of food. I've probably had a bunch of beer, and I was like, nope, I'm out. And then it just like ghost, and I'm gone. Oh, yeah. Again, harder though if you're out, 2 hours away. It's like, well, fuck. you know? Yeah, no, it's oh man, it gets tiring. I'm getting tired just thinking about it. That's how fucking out of shape I am, dude. That's how I haven't even oh. You know what? I am happy though. In my span of my break off of rugby, I have played 2 games, both of which were great. One of which I got hurt in, so it's completing the experience. Um, yeah, like, and I mean, yeah, that was cool. That was cool. It was good to help me miss it more. I feel
Mhm.
having a couple of wins. Like if I lost both of them, I might be like, well, this is kind of shitty, but it's good. Yeah. So yeah. So there's the break. There's the thought of the break, and then taking the break, which is a completely different thing. Um, and when you're on that break too, right? Because it is dangerous. We've all known people who have taken the year off, so to speak, and just disappeared because yeah, they're not hurt anymore. They're not spending the money. They're not, whatever. But what happens when you do that and you're like, fuck, what have I done? Right? You realize that mistake, right? And it's something else because then you might have to start with a new team. I mean, not through any kind of like, you know, uh, bad mojo. Fucking
Oh,
hell.
sometimes bad mojo.
There is sometimes, so some teams are particularly clicky if you leave,
Mhm.
and they're like, "Oh, you left." You're like, motherfucker, come on, man. Goddamn, be cool. So yeah, there is that, and then they're starting with a new team and all the new people they're always very welcoming, but there's also a lot of pressure with that too.
Mhm.
But you and me, like the thing is though, we can bounce around again as as the non-training prop, as a specialty figure on this battlefield. Uh, you know, not any higher value than anyone else, but everyone's always fucking looking for props.
I
Especially
mean, if there's supply and demand,
yes.
demand to supply. Well, if you're in the U.S., sometimes you get a few more
Yeah.
because Americans are fat. Uh,
Well, okay.
which
And there's
I
more of them. Sure, sure. But yeah, also.
I say that to all my American listeners with love as a fat man
Yeah,
who
we're all fat here, man. Come on, right? Hearty folk. We're all hearty folk. But yeah, no, it's true. But we back to the point I think I was getting to. We are able to drift from team to team. People will always be like, the journeyman prop. I see you're tired from your
I
your
mean, I have just literally shown up at tournaments and be like, "Who needs a prop?"
yeah.
And they're like, then I've had people fight over me. It's like, "Oh, we need a prop," and then it's just like, "Oh, yeah, okay."
They're always
Uh,
always need them because it's a tough position, and a lot of beginners also tend to go into prop. So you've got this weird dichotomy of like the very inexperienced who usually get fucked up right around mid game of the first or second game, and then they're like, oh yes, so they're well into it, and they're like, yes, we need somebody desperately. Because what are you gonna do? Have uncontested scrums? That sucks. That sucks. I've
I,
also yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, I was just
If your scrums are uncontested, I don't know why you have them. Like rugby league, I think. I mean, I'm a huge union fan. I'm less a fan of league, but I understand that they have scrums in order to like make the field more open. And then why don't you just fucking play sevens?
right.
Like,
Yeah, right.
like I think one time, like like in a big tournament, like someone won an opposing scrum in rugby league, and everyone flipped their shit because no one knew what to do. Because like what? Someone else won a scrum? That's not supposed to happen.
What?
Why? Because like you just like feed it in. The idea is like get these players out of the way. I'm like, just play sevens.
Yeah,
Just play
yeah.
sevens.
Like, seriously, just
Like then you have the field open all the time. So rugby league players, my email address is d@diharris.com. Tell me why I'm wrong.
yeah, exactly. But also,
Uh,
let's alienate some sevens too, because I was reading up about oh fuck, what was it? A tight 5 sevens tournament where
uh-huh.
it's just big hefty dudes. That's ideal. Oh my god. We don't get exhausted with scrums because they're fake. You know, there's no real line out. It's just a maul. Everything's just maul here, maul there. Oh my god. And it's at a pace we can understand. I would love to field a super heavy sevens because you know if they get the ball, fuck it, whatever, they'll run around. But if we get the ball, it's going to be amazing. Oh, yeah.
There's something very. I mean, when I play sevens, I get so many assists.
Yes.
Because like I just like I get the ball, they bring in all the players. I'm like, and I'm like, okay, I can upload, and then he's wide open. He gets running the score. I'm like,
Because you've
that was my
absorbed their entire team.
that was my tribe.
Yeah.
I set it up. I should get the points.
Yeah. Are there hat tricks or whatever for that? Like, yeah, man, come on, give me one. Yeah. No, that's so true. That's so true. Oh man. Sevens. I wanted to play oh, there's a car driving backwards down the wrong way of the street just now, coming by the window. I guess they didn't stop. They stopped at the stop sign and now have gone forward again. The fuck? Okay, so anyways,
Perspectives.
perspectives. I also had a guy pushing a 5-liter Mustang down my road today as I was working from home. And it was a good looking 5.0 Mustang, but it definitely wasn't running. So that was cool. I took a video of him. I stopped short of like taunting him as he was pushing his car by, but you know, whatever. What was I saying? Oh yeah, so sevens tournaments, because we were talking about that now. What was it? Oh fuck, the one in Truro. God, that's like Marlborough. I can't fucking say that either. Truro.
So for you Canadians, New Brunswick is not a real place.
But yeah, so I definitely wanted to do that this year, but COVID shut it down. And I mean, I've seen some big boys play in that tournament. That looked like fun. That looked like a hell of it because it's in a barn with dirt and everything, and a lot of drinking. Oh, a lot of. I couldn't do that though. That's just it. I couldn't because I've been away from the drinking, Dan. Ish. I'm definitely surrounded by empties. Like. So maybe I'd be fine. But yeah, like time away. I don't know. Like I'm trying to train, dude, but also winter is coming. I was like, what the fuck am I gonna do for cardio now? Not that I was really doing anything anyways. I've wasted so much time. We're spiraling here, Dan. Save me.
I mean, well, you got your jump rope. What I'm gonna do is like running in winter is a thing. When it hasn't snowed too much recently.
Yeah.
When it snows a lot, then it's also like on work days, because you get home and it's already dark by the time you get home, and like running in the dark is just. I've done it. It's all right. And so but really cardio is important. So what I'm planning to do this year is really play like more VR fitness games.
Oh, cool. Okay.
And so, because there's some fun ones where you really like you're moving your whole body, you're getting into it. So that's my plan.
Cool.
For the winter, like running mostly. Like I want to run at least like once a week, just to keep the muscles going. Because the worst thing is when you haven't run all year and then or like all winter and then you run for the spring and you're like, oh my god, I hate this so much.
Fucking death, man. It's so hard. It's so difficult. Mentally, too. Not just physically, mentally. And you're like, what the fuck is this? I don't ever remember. Problem is, I can remember running fast, and I have an excellent memory, despite the fact that I'm flighty as fuck. So I can remember the feeling of being fast, and it always trips me up because I so viscerally remember it, but I am definitely not that anymore. So yeah, this is Caleb's issues hour right now. I'm just fucking having a time. It's been a fucking week.
I'm also gonna have to get a heater for my garage too for winter.
Well, I don't know, man. We're pretty insulated. Yeah, we do okay. But I mean, yeah, you can't really warm up if it's frozen. I don't know. So when I was a kid, my parents had a garage, and I used to airbrush in the garage in the wintertime. And I was big into cars, so I'd rebuild engines and stuff. So I definitely got used to the cold.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I've probably grown a bit soft since then. That's low those decades ago. Yeah. But okay, so let's hear. I'm looking at your points here because I very much digressed. Um, okay, so let's talk about telling people you're going back to rugby. Are you a fan? Okay, are you a fan of setting a goal and telling people about the goal in hopes that it will, more cement it, maybe, or like give a pressure for you to continue and follow through? Or are you a keep it secret kind of guy? Because there's benefits to both, I feel.
Well,
Um,
there is, and so the research on it is interesting because this is actually something I have researched. So it depends on how you're telling people a lot because if you're telling other people like to hold you accountable, because the thing is people are like, oh, like you're doing that goal, that's so great, I'm really happy for you, you're doing that, and then you get all those positive feelings
right.
before you've actually done it. It's like that person who like it's like, oh, I'm gonna eat healthy now. Oh wow, I should reward myself for eating healthy, let me eat junk food.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I earned this cake.
When you haven't actually started eating
Yeah,
healthy yet. So that's a definite disadvantage of that. But if you're having other people hold you accountable, then then you really don't want to get that social shame, because a lot of what we do as humans is really to maintain our social standing. uh,
we are social
um,
creatures, right? Like we're kind of wired that way.
yeah, and so really, like losing face in front of people is really bad, which is, so you can like if you are having people hold you to account and not celebrating you for making a goal, that can be very effective. And so really depend, you really want to like make sure people are helping you in the right way.
Yeah, exactly. Sorry, I just had to throw my son the keys out the window here because he's back from the bike ride. But yeah, so and there is that pressure of accountability as well that can sometimes have a negative effect, I've found. But for the most part, I found it kind of spurs me forward. But also, I'm a little insecure sometimes with some of these fucking goals, right? Like sometimes it's better to keep it secret. I don't know. I'm so conflicted, Dan.
I mean, if you want to keep it secret, there are other ways you can have the whole thing. Because one of the things about humans is we're very loss averse, and so you can go to one of those things where, like, if you don't do it, it donates money to a charity you hate. Uh,
I've not heard of that.
yeah, like so for a lot of Americans, they have like donating to the Republican Party if they fail to do it. So like, no way is the Republican Party not getting my money. Uh,
GOP taking my money.
I mean, so there are other people who do it like, not quite to something that they hate, but like it's to a charity that they really are like, is this really where I would put my money to? So it gives an impetus, but it's not like to someone they hate. Um, I can't think of any charities that would really like. What's a charity that I would hate, but not like hate too much? I wouldn't want to give money to. And like, so all the charities, if I think of all the charities I hate, I'm like, like the anti-gay charities and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
right.
And it's like, this is Society for Real Women, which is like
Oh yeah,
big.
right? Those dicks. Like, yeah, it's like, yeah, what would be? I don't even know, man. Like the Society for like no dog parks. I don't know. Like something that's not, terribly. They're not going to succeed, but they're also just fuck them. Like I can't even think. But yeah, I get what you're saying.
I know also know people who do it to a charity that they do like, and it's just like it's like, well, I like this charity, so it's not the end of the world, but at the same time, like I also have other things I want to do with this money. Uh,
True. That's true. That's the yeah. That is that like a true neutral kind of approach where you're like, well, everyone benefits, but I'd really rather not. Oh man, yeah, it's yeah. I don't know. I struggle with motivation. I struggle with maintained motivation. I'm great at starting, and sometimes I'm great at finishing. It's that middle bit, that creamy middle bit.
the
Where
middle pit is always the hardest, and there's the old saying that like motivation gets you started, discipline sees you finish, which I think is partly true. But I find that the best way to do things is to really build systems instead of having goals,
right,
and to have systems of like things you can maintain through the long term. But it's still fucking hard. I mean, like I I am on the verge of finishing the first draft of my first novel. I'm like 37 years old. I've wanted to write a novel. And like my goal when I was like 25 was like having my first novel finished by age 30. Here I am, 37, finally finishing my first novel. Why? Because I would have like lots of ideas to start a novel, and I have like 500 started novels on my hard drive. And then it took a long time for me to be like, okay, I need to buckle down and like come up with a system where I'm just going to keep working on this and writing on it even on the days I don't feel like it, where I feel like shit. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna still do it, even though it's not gonna be very much, it's not gonna be very good, but just gonna need to get through it, maintain the habit. Um, and I find systems are really good for that. Just instead of having goals of like, I want to like lose this much weight, have a goal of like eating healthy,
right.
and stuff like that. And I have found that has been really effective. Um, at building habits, at really keeping them, and beginning through the middle bit where motivation slacks. Because the ending is also easy because you're like, oh, I'm so close.
Yeah, right.
Uh,
You can drive. You know.
yeah, you can finish it off. At the beginning, is like, oh my God, this is so new and exciting. The middle is always the hardest part.
It's so true. And I like the idea of systems. I think that's very much applicable to any and all aspects. And I, again, you're an artist with the writing, with the words. I'm a visual artist. I do sculpture and whatnot. And I again, it's the same thing. It's that yeah, that center grind where you have to, I've you can set times during days, but I found that setting moods is my system that kind of works really well, which means it's a little more flexible time wise, because I'm not chronologically inclined in any case. But but yeah, so it moves. But either way, systems is yeah, it is how you achieve. It's progress, not perfection. Not that I'm a perfectionist, but I wonder if I became so ardently not perfectionist because maybe deep down I was, and I was getting discouraged. Or maybe I'm just fucking thinking about it too much, dude.
I mean, I have a very cavalier attitude towards a lot of things, but I developed that cavalier attitude from intense anxiety.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, no,
and
but
like,
easy to it's easy, and I feel you, man. Sorry, I interrupted. I feel you though, 100%, because it's that shielding, right?
yeah, it's like, you know what? I've because I learned through a lot of my life that I was always worried about nothing, and like I would have like panic attacks about nothing, and so I'm like, it's all nothing, which I mean, and it works most of the time because I still do have that anxiety. And when I'm like, this is important, then all the anxiety kicks in. And so it's really
Right.
being like very selective about what I get anxious about, and really trying to enforce that with my attitude. And it's actually worked pretty well for me because then I will still have like bursts of like intense anxiety, but that's controllable. It's the even from a health aspect, actually, some bursts of intense anxiety is healthy. It's the long term constant state of anxiety, which is
Right.
really detrimental to both physical and mental health. Um, and so, yeah, it works well for me like that. The only issue is sometimes I am cavalier about things that, in hindsight, oh, that was not something I should have been cavalier about.
Yeah.
Uh,
In
and then I can, sorry,
just in retrospect, it's like, oh boy. You
yeah.
know?
And then I can get into big anxiety spirals. That's fun.
That is always neat. Something crazy happened. So about a year ago, less than that, prior to all the COVID stuff, but only just barely, I actually had a number of things happened, and I got this sense of um, peace that I hadn't gotten in like 10 years. And so it was great. It was a nice recharge before all of this shit happened. But it gives it gave me a good context to realize like I had just been very much I had found something that worked and kept the motor running, but I was like, oh, this is what it's actually like to recharge, and oh, okay, like get used to these, and yeah, you build up these systems, you build up all these things that sort of keep you going, um, and you get used to it because we're adaptable and we just kind of adapt to it. But the adaptation to this crutch or whatever, man, it takes a bit of a shock or a giant anxiety thing or something, or the opposite, this sort of weird feeling of peace, to actually give you that context. Wow, this has gotten this has gotten interesting. We've touched on something here. Season 2 of Propspectives will be artistic anxieties and expression.
Perfect. I mean, like that's the life of a prop.
It's true. It's true. We are the unsung artisans, if you will, of the field. Seemingly indestructible, but prone to fits of massive anxiety. That's a tattoo. Oh man. So okay. So speaking. So I guess we're here now. and, and so speaking of massive senses of anxiety, you can be forced out. Your year off might have to happen, right? And
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that does happen, and you are kind of forced to acknowledge the rest of the world outside of rugby, Dan.
Yeah.
Let's chat on that.
I mean, there are some injuries that take a long time to recover from, and yeah, and there's some injuries that will take you out for good. Uh, and you have to kind of accept that because I know people who have like tried to keep coming back. I have one friend. I mean, this is actually roller derby, not rugby, but she was really good at roller derby, like super amazing. But really just did not take that forced exit and kept on getting concussions and then coming back getting more concussions, and now like she is in in many ways she's a shell of what she once was. Like she was brutally smart, and like it took her a full year to read a book,
Oh man.
uh just because like she couldn't focus on it. And she still has a lot of her intelligence, but like she has a hard time taking in new information now because she can't focus.
Right.
And so she's like she feels like her intelligence kind of has gone down just because everything she forgets she can't relearn. Not because her brain like can't learn anything, just because she can't focus and study. And so she's sort of like kind of, I mean, like it's been like 3 years now, and like she hasn't been really improving on this. So like you're don't fuck up your brain. And if you take an exit, rugby is not life.
Yeah.
Rugby sometimes feels like life. Sometimes rugby is amazing, especially when you're in the middle of a game and you're hurt and you're like, I can't go off. My team needs me. Because we've all been there. I have done that, but there are certain things like, knees, elbows, brains that just don't really heal very well. You shatter your knee and like there's not really coming back from that. um and
That's
while that's less likely than some other things, because you can't like sort of progressively shatter your knee the way you can get progressively more concussions. It's either shattered or it's not. But the more injured you are, the more injured you're at risk of being, because when you're healthy, you're energized, you're able to have proper form, you're much less likely to get hurt. As soon as you start getting sloppy, as soon as you like try to like, well, I can like get into a sort of rougher position that sort of does it, but I'm injured so I can't do it fully, you are much more risk of being injured again. So take the forced exit. And as we like talked a lot before, it's hard to get back in. You can take a season off, realize a mistake, and still have a hard time getting back because now you're out of shape. But better to do that than to risk yourself. um and I said, I mean, I know there's risk to everything. There's people die in the shower every day because they slip and fall. The most risky part of an airplane ride is the drive to the airport because driving is so dangerous. Um, and rugby, probably slightly higher risk than both of those things.
I don't know about about driving though. Honestly, I don't know about that though. Definitely riskier than plane travel, like air travel. You're like more likely to get killed by a donkey kick than die in a plane crash. It's actually incredibly safe. But
Yes. I will no, that's why like the most dangerous part of an airplane ride is the drive to the airport because
yeah,
driving is so much more dangerous.
oh my god,
Which is not to say that driving is super dangerous. Like cycling is more dangerous than driving as well. Partly because if someone hits you and you're cycling, there's not much that you can do.
you're kind of along for the ride at that point.
Yeah.
The
Um,
trajectory.
and so the point of being like rugby has risks, but uh, and you need to like minimize those risks, but also know when the risks get too high for you because you're getting old or you're getting injured, and you need to bow out.
You know, well, it's something on my mind perennially. But again, I don't know, man. I'm a big dude. I'm not asked to sprint everywhere, which I appreciate. So my knees have been good. I've sprained my knees a bunch, but I train them quite a bit, and that helps sort of strengthen them up and stuff. And so, because that's the first thing I'm always wondering about. Like, given my size, my knees are always sort of a concern. But I've
Mhm.
worked them a fair bit. Like, and I don't put myself into shitty situations either. Like, you kind of learn how to do that a little bit as
Yeah.
well. Like, I'm not dive tackling people, or there's rucks I'll definitely bow out of or be like, no, it's my pot over here. You guys rock. It's fine. Uh, I absolutely try not to. Sometimes I'll get a really good I don't even know what they're fucking called. The dodge, the deke, whatever, the step. I've done that, but I've also pulled a muscle fucking doing that. So other times I just run straight, So yeah, there's things you can do, but yeah, it's true. Sometimes it's just you get to a point where, hard as it is, through age or injury, and those are usually it. Like, I can't think of
Yeah.
any other reason, right? Other than starting a family or something. Like a newborn will definitely do that, and
Newborns are surprisingly like a little bit difficult.
yeah,
I
shocking,
mean,
huh?
I know, like you think, well, like they're babies. How much work can they be? You put them in the crib, be like, bye. Uh,
Going to the social.
yeah, I'll be back in 8 hours. Like you'll be fine. You just like you can't go anywhere.
Yeah, yeah, right. No, it's but yeah, so through family injury or age will usually take you out, and yeah, then maybe you turn to coaching, or something like that. You still want to be part of that, sort of that environment.
Mhm.
I've also definitely met some some parents of kids on my son's team, and I'm like, oh yeah, you definitely were in scrums in the heyday of like that, where they don't even like call the crouch mindset, they just sort of ram into each other, get fucking concussed all the time.
Oh God,
Yeah,
those
and then just dudes
scrums.
are like, "Dar, dar, dar." And you're like, oh buddy. I
Just
mean, yeah.
oh man, watching those scrums is something like when they're like so far apart and they're like being held back. There's one like boom. You're just like Jesus. Like who thought that was a good idea? Actually, I mean, I say this, and logically I know it's true. Personally, I look at that and be like, fuck, I want to do that. I want to like
Oh,
smash into someone and knock him down. So I actually do know entirely why they did that because I want to do it. I want to smash into someone. I want to like be held back and I'm like, "Rah!"
the me that's off the field watching it doesn't want to fucking do those. That's a stupid thing. The me on the field, if provided that opportunity, might very well take that. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, but I mean, oh man, some of these dudes, yeah, it's like you have a lot of concussions you've hid from, from people for a bit. I think, yeah, I'm definitely a proponent of the whole crouch mindset. As hard as to fucking
Yeah.
squat there for like what seems like 8 years while everyone gets all
Mm-hmm.
sorted out, it's still better, I think. And yeah, and
Definitely.
at the ripe old age of 37, I can still theoretically play. I say theoretically because I have zero cardio right now. Fuck. Damn it, Dan. I gotta run.
Running, but you're a prop. You're not supposed to run.
We just jog. But I'd love to, no, but that's the thing. So, like, as I'm coming in off this year plus, essentially 2 years off now, aside from a game here or there, I'd really like to come back with a bang and not like a bang of like my knees shattering under me
Mhm.
trying to, or, the pop of a muscle being ripped from its mount. Uh, it's very much, yeah. And is it heresy to say that if I were to get fit enough, I might not be a prop? I'm so far away from that, though.
I'm leaving this call now.
I know it's so far away, but maybe Dan, maybe I'd get fit enough to be a terrifying wing. I can't even say that with a straight face. Oh my god, closest I get is probably, I don't know, one of those middle
Lock.
guys. Oh, I hate being a lock, dude.
All right, so you want to be a center?
Maybe is that what they're? I don't even fucking know.
So in the back line, you have the scrum half who passes to the fly half. Then on one side you have the short side winger. Then you have the center, outside center, and wing.
Yeah, the center guy, because all he really does is basically charge, right? He's just
He
like,
also has to pass because the inside center is like obviously the fly half is going to be deciding like a lot of the plays. The inside center has to be able to crash. He also has to be able to pass. It's really sort of like the flanker position where they're kind of like jack of all trades, where you want to have enough power that you can hit and smash through someone who's small enough. You also want to have the speed and the nice hands to be able to pass off and then loop back around and catch it. Whereas the wing, is much more like speed, speed, speed.
right,
And the inside center is very much like has to be jack of all trades. It's one of the things like flank where you really have to be able to do everything.
I good hands, Dan. That's a good hands. I can't see shit on the field, but I don't need to. I just need to see that the colored blur is near enough as my colored blur. That's it, man. Maybe I become a prop slash center. Holy shit! Can you imagine? Let's get this big team rolling.
I mean, I've played center before. It's a lot of fun.
Imagine it would be.
I'm a little too fat for center now. But back when I was like around like 280, I could play center, and I was a pretty terrifying center.
Man, I remember being 280. That was my first season of rugby. Was 275, and I was a fucking nightmare. Oh man, low those years ago. Okay, well, I don't know, man. It's turned into like center point instead of propspectives. I don't know. They're listen, where we start to become centers. I don't fucking know, dude. That's just it. I've been away from it so long. I'm concerned. I'm worried, Dan. I like it, but it's the longer I'm away from it, man, the less influence it has on me. I'm starting to look at strongman shit because let's face it, and I say shit, but I kind of really love it because they all look like us, dude. Like I thought props were, like my people, and they are, but these dudes look like us. Like we could just be plunked in, and while we definitely couldn't lift what they lift, like no one would bat an eye if we wandered in. You know what I mean? Like,
I mean, at amateur strongman competitions, I can compete decently well.
yeah,
Like
no,
I,
like like elite tiers or whatever.
oh yeah, okay, I can't compete there now.
Some
But like
insane.
amateur powerlifting competitions, I will like I usually, because of the way they calculate the score, I don't win them, but I will often lift the highest weight there. It's like,
No, it's true. We've talked about that. Yeah, like it's like I'm expected to deadlift like 1,000 fucking pounds.
like I did recently a squat competition where I like out squat everyone else and came in last. When I say recently, I mean like that was like late February.
Once all this shit blows over, and it will, I maintain that it will. I'd love to go do a powerlifting competition with you, man. Like I think that'd be super fun, and I might get decent around there because I've been training a lot, but I might get around near to you, so that would be fun. We'd have our own
All right,
little
let's do it.
the super heavy modest weightlifters. We'll outlift all of you, but mathematically we'll lose. Oh,
I mean, I have another teammate who also does powerlifting competitions, and so it's definitely a thing you can do.
that'd be cool. That'd be cool. I'd like that. Again, I miss weightlifting with you, buddy. Ah, so
Do
far
it.
away from me.
Uh, you know, uh, now I've got a home gym, so I can like work out in a jock. So it's great. I say it's great. I haven't done it yet because
Yeah,
it hasn't been set up yet.
theoretically it's
But
comfy, but we don't know in the practical sense. Oh man, yeah. Oh, alrighty. Well, this was good. I think I'm gonna try and get back into it. I think it's what it comes down to. I definitely am. I miss. There's more that I miss than I don't. I think, and I feel like that's what you kind of have to hang on to.
yeah, I mean, well, that's the thing at the beginning. Like for the past 2 years, well, I mean, other than this year, I was like, I think I'm going to take this year off. I'm under so much stress. I'm like burnt out from just all this like stuff I'm trying to handle for life. And then like in the end, was like, you know what? No, I may be on the verge of bankruptcy, but I'm still putting that money into rugby.
It is.
Uh,
It's not like anything else though, and I've definitely found that. So I
I
still want
mean,
to experience some of that.
yeah, one of the things that you said about like how strong men are men because they all look like us, and that's true. But one of the things I love about rugby is like just having to do everything and having to use the full I don't like bereft, that's not the word, I don't know what word I'm looking for, but like the full range of athletic skills, and I've
Yeah,
got things I'm good at, and I'm good at hitting things, I'm good at being hit, I'm good at like smashing, I'm good at like I run forward,
yeah,
and then sometimes I find myself in the back line and I'm like, okay, I'm a back now, like fancy footwork, here's the ball,
yeah.
uh and I, I have found myself on the wing, and then it's like, okay, I'm a winger now. Let's do this.
Yeah.
Uh,
It is fun. No, and you're right. It is that variety in what you're being tasked to do is just really neat. It's a fun experience,
it
having
is.
to build those other neurons. And again, having been away for so long, that's my big trouble, is that this is essentially a forced year off for all of us. Unless you're in the States and you're fucking playing rugby, which I don't even know, man. But that's absurd. But this forced absence, and after a while, like, yeah, it's, I worry we're gonna lose a bunch of people. I worry,
Yeah, I mean that's very possible. Like
especially at the club
next year.
level, at our level, like
Uh huh.
where we are, man. It's enough time to get into other stuff, basically, right?
Hmm.
Stuff happens. So yeah,
Yeah.
so we'll see what the landscape looks like. It'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. That's kind of a dour note, but that's okay, man. That's okay. Not everything has to be up and chipper. Hey, we're in it right now. we're fucking in it. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
We got to start working on season 2 then. I guess it's really what it comes down to.
Apparently, yeah. Because I know y'all are like just as tired of all this as we are. I need someone to sound like they're in your ear talking about rugby and like all the shit, and then getting distracted and talking about random shit that you don't care about, and then coming back to rugby being like, oh yeah, this is what we're supposed to talk about.
Yeah, you need that. It's like a conversation, a friendly little convo. Yeah. All right. Well, Dan, thank you. This has been good. I like this. This is good. This, first of all, as our first podcast, I gotta say, I had a blast. If we're gonna do this season, here's the thing. I've never seen the last episode of The Office, which I dearly love that show, because I don't like endings. And that's my own little neuroses. But yeah, this is the end of season 1. Let's just say that, and we'll figure out. Oh, maybe we could just watch a game and comment on it and publish that. And we'll just try and describe it as best we can.
I'm, like just, for the people sitting alone, like we'll watch a game and we'll talk about it, and you'll be like, you're just chatting with some buds, having some brewskis,
We'll
watching the game together.
Okay, no, let's do this. I kind of love that. So here's the thing, right? We're doing it on Zoom. Why don't we just take it to a video? Like, I'll have another computer. It'll share the screen of the game. We'll see our little talking heads, and yeah, we can just do that in little snippets at first. If we're trying to figure out our formatting, because that's going to be interesting. But but I think that would be lovely. There we go. Oh man, we got season 2. There we go. Favorite game.
I think, yeah, I think that'll be a good one. I think that perhaps we should do not like just that. Maybe like have some other ideas too.
Yeah.
I,
Oh,
I think a full season of like let's watch a game with Caleb and Daniel might not be the best.
yeah. No, that's
Uh,
fair. That's fair. We'll pepper it in. We can go cross whatever board cross format cross whatever. It's all good. Just to keep it maintained, I think is the idea.
mhm.
Okay. Cool. Cool. This is good. Well, that's season 1.
Thank you for listening to season 1. We hope you enjoyed it. We certainly did, and we all learned a lot, especially that Caleb and Daniel can't stay on topic. Uh,
I don't think that's a problem, but okay. You can send the emails to we don't have an email at propspectives. Oh man, think of all the fan mail we're not getting, buddy. Oh, alrighty. Well, I'm gonna sign out. Goodbye, Dan,
Goodbye, Caleb.
and we'll see everybody when the season starts again. There we go.
Ooh.